Hello children, let us solve some case study based question. Question number 1 is, one picture is given and picture above shows the scene of classroom of class 10. Today is the day of maths test for the students. A different seating arrangement is made for the students for the test. Three students, Ravi, Arav and Karan, are seated at the points A, B and C respectively. As you can see here, the graph is also given. The position of A, B and C we can see here from the graph. And now few questions are given. So we will solve question based on this graph. So question number 1 is, we have to find the sum of x coordinates of points A, B and C. So first we'll find x coordinate of point A, B and C. Then we will find its sum. So the A point is, the x coordinate of point A is 1, 2, 2. The x coordinate of point B is 4. The x coordinate of point C is 5. So their sum will be 2 plus 4, 6 plus 5, 11. So the correct answer is 11. Now second question is, distance between origin and point C is. We have to find the distance between the origin and point C. So to find distance, we will use distance formula. So we know the coordinates of origin are 0 and 0, 0 and the coordinates of point C 5, 1. So what we will do, by using distance formula, we will find the distance OC, the distance between origin and point C. So coordinates of origin 0, 0 and coordinates of point C from the graph 5, 1. Okay, so OC is equals to, first we'll write distance formula. See, the distance formula is x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. This one is x1 and this one is not x2, this is y2. Okay, abscissa ordinate. So x1 y1, x2 y2. Now we'll put the values here. So x2 means 5 minus x1 means 0 square. Here 1 minus 0 square. So we will get 5 square 25 plus 1 square is 1. So root 26. So the distance between origin and point C is root 26 units. Okay, now see the options. Options are, yeah, so the fourth option is correct, root 26. So correct option is 4, root 26. Now see the next one. Midpoint. We have to find the midpoint of line joining points A and B. Midpoint of line joining points A and B. So point A is here and point B is here. We have to find the midpoint of line joining point A and B. Okay, so we will use midpoint formula to find the coordinates of the midpoint of line joining A and B. So the coordinates of point A are 2, 2 and coordinates of B 4, 4, right? So by using midpoint formula, see the coordinates of point A 2, 2 and coordinates of point B 4, 4. Okay, we have to find the midpoint, coordinates of midpoint of line joining points A and B. So x coordinate is x1 plus x2 by 2 and y coordinate y1 plus y2 by 2. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. So x1 means 2 plus x2 is 4 and here for y coordinate y1 is 2 and y2 is 4. Okay, so 2 plus 4 is 6 by 2 3 and here 3. So the coordinates of midpoint 3, 3. Now we'll check the options. Which one is correct? So the third option is correct. Okay. Now see the next one. The point which divides the line segment joining points A and C in the ratio 1:2. We have to find the coordinates of point which divides the line segment joining the points A and C in the ratio 1:2. So here ratio is given. Coordinates of A and C are 2, 2 and 5, 1. We have to find the coordinates of point which divides this AC in the ratio 1:2. So to find the coordinates, we use section formula. Okay. We use section formula to find coordinates of a point which divides a line in particular ratio. So let us see the section formula. Section formula. So the x coordinate is m1x2 plus m2x1, m1 plus m2, and y coordinate m1y2 plus m2y1 upon m1 plus m2. This m1 is to m2 is the ratio. So here ratio is given 1:2. M1 is to m2 is given 1:2. It means the value of m1 is 1 and value of m2 is 2. Now points A and C, coordinates of point A and C. So coordinates of point A 2, 2 and coordinates of C 5, 1. Okay, so these are the values. We have to put the values in the formula and we'll find the value of x and y. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, we have to find the coordinates of C. Here it's A and C. And there is a point, let it be P, which divides this line segment AB in the ratio 1:2. We have to find the coordinates of this point P. Okay, where coordinates of A and C are given. So let us find by using this section formula. So we'll put the values. So x coordinate m1 is 1, x2 is 5 plus m2 is 2, x1 is 2, m1 plus m2, and y coordinate m1 y2 plus m2 y1 upon m1 plus m2. Be careful when you put all the values. So here we'll get 5 plus 4 by 3, and here 1 plus 4 by 3. So here 9 by 3, which is equals to 3, and here 5 by 3. So the coordinates of point P 3, 5 by 3. This is the answer. See the options. 3, 5 by 3 is the correct answer. Okay. Now the last one is coordinates of point C. It's very simple one. Coordinates of point C 5, 1. So coordinates of point C 5, 1. Now see the next question, another question. So in this question a figure is given and Raman is doing cycling as shown in the picture alongside. Okay. He does it daily in the morning as his morning exercise. Note that the road in the picture is in the shape of a parabola which is represented by a quadratic polynomial. Now a few questions are given. First one is, which geometrical shape of the road is this in the given picture? So here, wherever if you find any figure like this in upward direction or in downward direction or along x-axis, positive x-axis or along negative x-axis, all are parabola. Okay, this shape is parabolic. So in this question, which shape of the road is this in the given picture? So this is parabola, right? Next is, which of the following is a quadratic polynomial? See, the word quadratic means if the if the degree or power, highest power of the variable, if the degree of the polynomial is 2, degree means the highest power of the variable. So if the degree of the polynomial is 2, then the polynomial is said to be quadratic. See the first polynomial, here the degree is 3, so it's not quadratic, it is called cubic. Here the degree is 4, it is called biquadratic. Here the degree is 1, so it's called linear polynomial. And here in the third one, in the third polynomial is a quadratic polynomial, because here the highest power of x is 2, the degree of this polynomial is 2, that is why this is called quadratic polynomial. So the correct answer is 3. Third one is the correct answer. This is a quadratic polynomial. Now next question, if the road in the picture is represented by the polynomial 3x square minus 2, then zeros of this quadratic polynomial are. If this road is represented by this polynomial, then we have to find the zeros of this quadratic polynomial. Now how to find the zeros of the quadratic polynomial? So what we will do, we will equate, or we'll put this 3x square, the given polynomial, equal to 0, and we'll find the values of x. Okay, so first let's transpose this 2 to RHS, and then again transpose this 3 to RHS. We have to find the value of x. So whenever you find square root of any number, you will get one positive as well as one negative value. Okay, so here we'll get plus minus root 2 by 3. So these are the zeros of the polynomial. Now we will check our answer. Plus root 2 by 3 and minus root 2 by 3. C. This can also be written as minus root 2 by root 3 and plus root 2 by root 3. So this one is the correct option. Right? Next is degree of quadratic polynomial. As I said, if the degree of the polynomial is 2, then it is called quadratic polynomial. So the degree of quadratic polynomial is 2. Next is in the given figure, alongside the graph of a polynomial is given, the number of zeros of the polynomial is. We have to find the number of zeros. So wherever you find this type of graph, so the total points where this graph intersect, or the point of intersection of this graph and x-axis, the total point of intersections are 1, 2 and 3. So there are 3 values of x, or there are 3 zeros of this polynomial. So here the number of zeros of the polynomial is 3. Now see the next question. The next question is, class 10 students appeared for a test and marks obtained are formulated in a table as shown. Okay, as follows, and marks are out of 80. So marks and number of student. Now see the questions. How many students secured less than 30 marks? Okay, we have to find the number of students who secured less than 30 marks. So number of student here and marks here. So this first class interval, so there are 9 students who secured marks between 0 to 10. There are 11 students who got marks between 10 to 20, and there are 20 students who got marks between 20 and 30. We have to find the total numbers of students secured less than 30 marks. Okay, so less than 30. So in this, what we will do, we'll add all the numbers of student, okay, between 0 to 10, 10 to 20 and 20 to 30. So the total number of students who score less than 30 marks, 9 plus 11, 20, 20 plus 20, 40. So there are 40 students who secured less than 30 marks. So the correct option is third one, 40. Next is, what is the upper limit of the model class? See, this is called class interval 0 to 10. So this 0 is called lower limit and this is 10 is known as upper limit. Okay. And here what we have to find? We have to find the upper limit of the modal class. Modal class. Mod means highest frequency. Okay, where the number of student. Yeah. So here this is class interval and this is frequency. Number of student or frequency. So highest frequency is 30. Of which class? Of this 30 to 40. So this 30 to 40 is called modal class. So from this modal class we have to find the upper limit. So the upper limit of this modal class is 40. So the correct answer is 40 and the correct option is 4. Fourth one is the correct option. Modal class, okay? So mod means the highest frequency. So highest frequency is 30 and the class 30 to 40 is called modal class, and this is lower limit and this one is upper limit. So the modal class is the class interval 30 to 40, and as it has the maximum frequency and its upper limit is 40. So this is the correct option. Next is the upper limit of the median class is. Now the upper limit of the median class. Now to find the median class, we need to find n by 2. Okay, and what is n? Capital N, sum of frequencies. So what we will do, we'll find the sum of frequencies. Okay, so when you find sum, let us find the sum first. So here the sum is 90. It means the value of capital N is 90. Now we will find n by 2, which is 45. Now this 45 is next to this. Yeah, let me write in my copy. I will explain you. So here class interval is given, marks, then number of students. Okay, this is called class interval and this is frequency. So here 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 and 50 to 60. See, class interval. Now frequencies are given 9, 11, 20, 30, 12, 8. So for median class we will find cumulative frequency. Okay, cumulative frequency, how to find? This 9 remains as it is. Then 9 plus 11, we have to make this Z. Okay, 9 plus 11 plus 9 plus 11, 20, 20 plus 20, 40, 40 plus 30, 70, 70 plus 12, 82, and 82 plus 8 is 90. When you find sum of these frequency, you will get 90. The last term or last number of cumulative frequency and sum of frequency should be equal. Okay. So here n is 90, right? We will find n by 2, which is coming 45. So this cumulative frequency which is immediately next to, see, the cumulative frequency which is immediately next to 45 is 70. Okay, here it is 40 and then 70. So this corresponds to class interval 30 to 40. So this is median class. Okay, this 45 lies between 30 to 40. So median class 30 to 40. Okay, and but the question is the upper limit of the median class is. So the upper limit of median class is 40. So again the answer is 40, right? Now let's move to the next one. Next question is the sum of lower limit of modal class and upper limit of median class, right? Lower limit of modal class. So modal class and median class we will write. So median class we have written here. Modern class, yeah, in the second question the model class, yeah. So it's 30 to 40. So again both are same. So question is the sum of lower limit of model class. So lower limit of model class and upper limit of median class. Sum of. So the sum is 70. So the correct answer is 70, third option. And the last one is the value of a variable which occurs most often is called its mode. Okay. The value of a variable which occurs most often is called mode, right? Now see one more question. This question is based on the verification of basic proportionality theorem, which is also known as Thales theorem. So here verification is given. So first, see the first step. Cut a piece of cardboard of a convenient size and paste a white paper on it. Okay. Then next, take two thin wooden strips with marking 1, 2, 3, 4 up to. So two wooden strips with marking at equal distances and fix them vertically on the two ends of the horizontal strips as it is shown in the figure and call them AC and BD. Right. Next is cut a triangular piece PQR from cardboard, and here thickness should be negligible, and paste colored glazed paper on it and place it between the parallel strips. AC and BD are parallel strips, so we will cut a triangular piece of paper and we'll paste it here between the parallel strips AC and BD, such that its base QR is parallel to the horizontal strip AB. Okay, so between this AC and BT in such a way that this QR should be parallel to the horizontal strip AB as it is shown in the figure. Now next is graduate the other two sides of the triangular piece as shown in the figure. Put two screws along the horizontal strip and two more screws on the top of the board at points C and D such that A, B, D, C become four vertices of a rectangle. We have to fix screw 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, like so that they become four vertices of rectangle. Take a scale ruler and make four holes on it as shown in the figure and fix four pulleys at these holes with the help of screw. Here, right? See, pulley with screw, scale, pulley with screw. Okay. Fix the scale on the board using the thread. Fix the scale on the board using the thread tied to nails fixed at point A, B, C and D, passing through the pulleys as shown in the figure so that the scale slides parallel to horizontal strip AB can be moved up and down over the triangular piece freely. Set the scale on vertical strip parallel to the base QR of DPRQ, say at the points E and F. Measure the distances PE and EQ and also measure the distance PF and FR, and which of the following results can be verified by doing this. So see, what we have to do is we have to measure the distance between PE and EQ and PF and ER. Okay, we have to measure the distance and we have to check which option is correct, right? So when you measure the distance, you will find that since it's a basic proportionality theorem, so according to this theorem, what we will get, we'll get this P, the ratio of PE. So PE by EQ is equals to PF by FR. Okay, so the first option is correct. PE by EQ equals to PF by FR. Now in the second figure, DE parallel to BC. In the given figure, DE parallel to BC is given, and AD is given, BD is also given, and A is also given. We have to find EC. This EC is equal to what? So by this PPT theorem only, we can write AD by DB is equals to AE by EC. AD is given 1.5, DB is given 3, AE is given 1, and we have to find this EC. Okay, so EC is equals to 1 multiplied by 3 by 1.5. So it is 2 centimeter. So the correct answer is 2. 2 centimeter is the correct option. Okay. Now in the third figure, in the next question, in the given figure, FM parallel to QR, FP is equals to, again here we have to find FP. So again by using basic proportionality theorem, PF by FQ is equals to PM by MR. So when you calculate PF by FQ is equals to PM by MR. PF we have to find, FQ is 7.2, PM is 1.8, and MR is 5.4. So when you simplify 1.8 multiplied by 7.2, 2.4. Okay, so this PF is 2.4. So the correct option is B. Second option is correct, 2.4. And the next question, if a line divides any two sides of a triangle in the same ratio, if a line divides any two sides of a triangle in the same ratio, then it is parallel to the third side, it is perpendicular to the third side, it divides the third side in two equal parts, or it divides the third side in the ratio 2:3. So the correct option is option 1. First option is correct. It is parallel to the third side by basic proportionality theorem only. Now the last question is, if in triangle ABC a line parallel to BC intersects other two sides AB and AC at D and E respectively, means here let us draw the figure. So question says that if in a triangle ABC, so we will make a triangle ABC here, triangle ABC, a line parallel to BC, a line parallel to BC intersects other two sides AB and AC at point D and E respectively. Okay, a line parallel to BC intersects AB and AC at point D and E. Then by using basic proportionality theorem, we can write AD parallel to DB is equals to AE parallel to EC. Okay, so by basic proportionality theorem, we can write AD by DB is equals to AE by EC and check which option is correct. So AD by DE, DB, AE by EC. So the first option is correct. So these are the four case study based questions we have done today. You just revise this question